Hi everybody, welcome back to my channel. If it's your first time here, my name's Peter. So it's Saturday once again and time for another story. So I've got a story for you today, guys. It's a real nice story. I actually enjoyed reading this one myself. I get sent lots and lots of stories. Some of them I can use, some of them I can't. If you've sent me a story, please be patient because I get so many of them. I've got to kind of get through them. I've got to read them all and just make sure that they're suitable. But this one was sent to me about a month ago. And there's two reasons why I like this story. Firstly, a comment that's often left on a lot of these relationship videos, and I'm guessing they're left from people who have never been to Thailand, but what they'll say, the comment will go something like this, it will say, how dumb was that guy? How could he get mixed up in a relationship with a girl like that? That's a kind of, that's a flavour of the comments that often come through when I make these relationship videos. And what I like about this story, it's about a guy who went to Pattaya and he didn't fall in love, but what happened was he did develop a relationship. And this is a really good example for all you people out there who say, how could somebody be so dumb? Would you do it in your own country? It just wouldn't happen. This story will explain it. The second reason why I like this story is because it shows you that there is a life away from the bars. I don't want to ruin the end of it right now, so I won't go into detail too much, but a lot of people go to Thailand and they go straight to Pattaya and they don't go anywhere else. They think Pattaya is a true representation of Thailand, and it's absolutely not. Okay, with that said, I don't know the guy's name. He hasn't included his name, but for the sake of the story, I've called the girl Nok. So I'll proceed with this story now, and I'm sure you're going to like this one, guys. So here we go. At the time of this story, I was 49 years old, a film worker from the States, single, never married, and it was my second trip to Thailand. I worked for a year straight, no breaks. I arrived in Thailand after my 24-hour flight from the States, off the aircraft, new SIM in the phone and a little money change for my taxi. I arrived at the LK Metro Hotel in LK Metro Pattaya, a hotel that I had found on my last trip and I never really left. I was given the key to my room. They upgraded me, I think, to a superior. I think it was a very nice room indeed. A quick shower and I felt fresh, so out I went, and it was about 1:30 in the morning. I had not made it out of the hotel when a beautiful woman grabbed my arm and started with the questions. Her name was Tan, but I was put off with her lies. I handed Tan 500 baht, asked her to stop with the bullshit and just have some drinks with me. Tan was from Laos, spoke a few languages and very good English, very witty, very funny. She had a German boyfriend and wanted to live in Los Angeles. She introduced me to some of the girls in the small bar. There were only two, and the cashier plus another ladyboy that I wish was actually a real woman, plus a cute girl of about 31. We all had drinks and it was a fairly pleasant atmosphere. I was happy to finally be in Pattaya after a year of saving and planning. The young girl's name was Nok. She spoke great English, was very dressed conservatively. She was so cute. I drank with them all until the sun came up. Nok and I decided to go to my room to sleep it off. The next 3 days that followed were all like that, drinking all night and sleeping all day. I don't know if you have noticed, but in Pattaya, the days kind of plan themselves. The I won't do it again ends as soon as you wake up and you're back out. I found a real massage shop, not the usual happy endings venue like most of the others. Nok and I had lunch at Kilkenny's, very nice Thai food and a mocha for a fair price. Almost every day I tried to express to Nok that I did not want to get attached and we should have a break from each other soon. We were actually having a great time all the time we were together. We got along great with all the girls in her small bar. They were like a little family. If Nok was sleeping, as most Thai girls sleep for very long periods, I would grab breakfast by myself in the hotel and have a walk. I would stop for a drink in a small outside bar that never closed. I would get a hangover smoothie and a good Thai massage, then back to the room to wake Nok for lunch. This was starting to become a routine. Even though it was a pleasant routine. I didn't like tiptoeing around my room in the mornings while Nok was sleeping. I told Nok, after tonight we stop. I don't want to go home sad after my holiday. We went out together that evening and I told her this is our last night. That night I got into the whiskey big time. I was fearless when it came to the street vendors, and that was my mistake. While out on one of my drunken adventures, I must have eaten something bad because I got very sick. I don't know if it was the beef, pork pie, chicken kebab, sour pork, or those weird little meatballs everybody is eating on a stick. I ate something really, really bad. I was not thrown up, but I had bad stomach cramps and had to stay close to the loo. I also had very bad chills. I could not eat anything for 3 days. Nok took it upon herself to look after me. This is a kindness which the Thai bar girls often surprisingly show. I did not want to be touched. I just wanted to be left alone in my own misery. Nok spent her own money buying me a bunch of tablets from a pharmacy and kept me well supplied with drinking water. On the 4th day, I was well enough to eat, but I did not have the stomach for drinking any alcohol. I realised once I was out and about how sick I had been. I lost weight. I decided it was time for a change, so I wanted to do some tourist day trips, which is much cheaper and healthier than drinking continually. We visited the Sanctuary of Truth, the Crystal Lake, Nutch Gardens and a few more places. We also went to a great zoo outside of Bangkok. I wish I could remember the name of the zoo. Purchased all my trips from a little tourist kiosk on the edge of LK Metro. Great zoos, no sad elephant shows. All the animals were well cared for and the workers even looked happy. I ordered the deluxe trip, 1200 baht for 2 people. The zoo was my first day out of the hotel. I was weak and not feeling that great. I looked rather pale and I had lost about 10 pounds. Somehow the driver managed to take us in his air-conditioned car around the zoo. The driver was a young guy named Singh. He asked what we wanted to see and then drove us around. We would get out of the car to look at the animals, feed them or watch a show, then back into the cool of the car. I did not see any other cars doing this. All the people going around on golf carts looked at us as if when we came and went. Remember, Singh seemed to know everyone at the zoo. He had quite a long conversation at the ticket booth. I wonder if they just worked out that because of the sick Falang. Nok and I started a 3-year-long relationship that I hadn't anticipated. I came back after a year and a half to spend 3 months with Nok, travelling around Thailand. Nok is from Nong Bua Lampu. Sorry if I pronounced that wrong. Her village is about half an hour from Udon. It looks a bit like West Texas, but twice as hot. I met Nok's father. I don't have anything good to say about him. Her mother is in her 60s, but a very beautiful and strong woman. Nok has 2 sisters, one that lives in the village with her husband and 2 sons, Nok's son and the mother. The other sister, long story there. Nok also has a young boy named Tim, 9 years old, great kid. Nok was a cashier in Bangkok for 15 years after high school. Nok's first Thai boyfriend got her pregnant, so she had to go home, had the boy, her son. Then she went off to Pattaya to work with her cousin in a bar, as they had been told that the money was good in Pattaya. Nok's cousin had a boyfriend from the UK who supported her financially so she could go live at home, but unfortunately he died in the UK. Nok's family house burnt down, so she went to work in the bar. That's when I met her. Sad story, really. I know what you're thinking. Believe it or not, it's actually all true. I visited the village and her family on my 3-month trip. Her sister's husband, her mother, father and 3 boys all lived in a community building used by the village for 1 year while completing the new house. I would call that building a hot metal warehouse with chicken wire for walls in some spots. Her mother insisted I park my rental inside that building at night. The family moved into the house a month prior to my second visit. The interior of the house was not finished, all concrete and plaster materials with a metal roof. The guys that did the interior work on the walls and ceiling had no pride in their work. They did a really bad job. I booked the worst hotel room of the trip in a city of Nong Bua Lampur, about 20 minutes from Nok's village. I spent my week in the village working on that house. I patched cracks, sanded, primed, sealed and painted the home. I took my time and enjoyed lunches with her mother on the porch. I was big news in the village. Everyone came to look at the big white guy. Many of the old people just wanted to say hello and shake my hand. Some old man would come out and watch me work every day for about an hour. He would smile, give a nod of approval and slip away. Materials were cheap to work on the house, about 1/3 of what it would have cost me in the US to do the same thing. I was amazed the attention I got in the big box store, a Thai Home Depot. I had 5 employees follow me around the store. If I took anything off the shelf, they held it for me. I packed all the stuff with a ladder into the back of my little Honda Jazz rental. I think I spent 10,000 baht, all of the materials. It took me 5 days. I was pleased with the end result. I will send you photos, but her mum and family are in them. I wouldn't want them posted on YouTube. Nok was treated like a princess by her entire family. They pampered her a lot. I think Nok helped me for about an hour before she decided napping was more her style. In the village, apart from the old people, everyone is gone during the day. The village comes back to life when the kids all get home from school, the parents are back from work, and the farmers are back from their fields. The village kids and Nok's family were one of the highlights of my trip. I played soccer with the kids in the street. I bought a soccer ball for the kids in the village. Great little players. The kids would kick off flip-flops and play barefoot on the street. Everyone parted ways after dark and went home for dinner. We all sat on mats, had a beautiful dinner with fresh vegetables and fruit from her mother's half-acre garden. I'm a big guy and I don't sit well on the mats. I think my legs went numb more than once, but when in Rome, as they say. Nok was honest with me as far as I could tell. She had a few repeat customers she was fond of, but she kept telling me that I was her boyfriend. We chatted every day. She preferred, now I'm taken from the story that he's not in Thailand anymore. She preferred to video chat on our phones. I told her not to chat with me when she was with a customer. We grew quite close. I got to hear the good old bar gossip, daily life and her friends. I bought her phones on her birthdays and sent a little cash when things were slow, and she was visibly stressed about sending money home. I sent money once so she could go home when it was slow in Pattaya. This was our relationship. My 3-month trip with her was the best vacation of my life so far. My intention on this trip was to see if she wanted to make it work for us. We travelled to, so he's back in Thailand now on his second trip. We travelled to Chiang Mai after a few days in Pattaya, then off to Chiang Rai for the flower festival. We were supposed to go to Samui, but the airport was flooded and closed, so I just stayed in Chiang Rai for 6 weeks. I really loved that part of Thailand. I rented a scooter in Chiang Rai, and with the help of some expats, I rented a beautiful 12-floor room, 2-bath condo for 10,000 baht from an Aussie guy. Things just fell into place so quickly in Chiang Rai. We went on many road trips on that little scooter. We went to Doi Tung, Masai, and even ventured on to Myanmar. We stayed in resorts we found on the way and winged it. Day trips to the hot springs by the elephant camp, the White Temple, the giant Lady Buddha, morning adventure rides with a group of expats. We rode what they called the Ridge, a breathtaking ride along the border of Myanmar and Thailand. I love Chiang Rai. After seeing Nok on the flight from Pattaya, I did not want to put her on a plane again. She said she had flown and was not afraid to fly. This was not true. It was like telling me she could swim. I rented a car and we drove across country to her village. Looking at a map, it should have taken me about 9 hours by my estimates. Not in Thailand. In the States, I like to drive at night, less traffic and cooler on the car in the summer. I drove for 1 hour after dark in rural Thailand. Now I see why Thais don't like driving at night. A lot of scooters without taillights, big trucks without taillights, people driving the wrong way on the freeway shoulder just because it's faster than doing it correctly. Really, it was darker than a blackout. They had no highway lights. Good thing we did stop as we found a very nice resort. We woke up to a beautiful view of a temple on a mountain. I saw a lot of temples on my travels, but this was on a mountaintop, a beautiful deck with a breathtaking view. We drove through the national park, which had "Watch out for elephants" signs all over the place. I could go on and on about this trip, many adventures, great cross-country drive to her village. Nok will never leave her family, and I now understand why. After years of working in a beer bar, she will never settle into regular life. I know full well what I was getting into. We all like to think we are special, and true love conquers all. I caught her trying to lie to me to get money. Long story, but I caught her in a lie that took a fair amount of forethought. She was very bad at lying to me. I knew her well. I had no problems helping before, but that had truly ended it for me, the lies. I did pay her to go with me on that trip. I forget what we negotiated, but it was close to $1,000 for 3 months. On my own, I could not have seen the parts of Thailand or experienced the Thai people as I did with Nok. More than once at a military checkpoint or a village shop, the Thai people would have a worried look on their face when they saw me so far out of place, a crinkled forehead and no smile. Then they would see her and their face would change. Nok always dressed modestly. She was courteous and thoughtful of others. We took cooking classes in Chiang Mai. She was the only Thai the teacher spoke to in Thai. The class was full of guys with Thai girlfriends in the class and some angry looking Western women. The Thai people always seemed to like her. One night in Pattaya, we did have a fight in the beginning of our big trip. She went to her room and left the hotel. I went out to her bar. I met 3 other guys fighting with Thai girlfriends or wives. We were all in the doghouse for the night. I listened to the stories. I considered myself lucky I was not married and did not own property with my Thai girlfriend. All 3 guys lived in Thailand permanently. One Aussie guy just ran away from his wife and went to Pattaya. We kind of all went on a bender. I somehow made it back to my room. I ran into the Aussie guy mid-afternoon at a coffee shop. He had apparently woke up on the beach in front of some bar. Luckily, he still had his wallet with all his cash in it, but could not find his motorbike or condo keys. But we did have a good time though. My rambling point being, you have to take it for what it is. When you leave Thailand, what you had in Thailand is gone. I do not regret the time I spent with Nok. The money I spent pales in comparison to what I would have spent taking a Western woman on vacation. I now feel comfortable going into rural Thailand on my own. Pattaya is not Thailand. It's not even a good representation of the country. I don't care for Pattaya much now. I do like having fun with the bar girls, playing pool, joking around and watching them working it. It's never a lonely night in Pattaya. If you want to find friends to drink with or play a game, I even found a bar in Chiang Rai, the 69 bar. Some nights Nok wanted to stay in after a long day on the motorbike. I would go to the bar and party with the girls. They often tried to tempt me. I would tell them I had a crazy jealous Thai girlfriend. That would cool their jets for maybe an hour. It's always good to be a handsome man, as the bar girls call everyone in Thailand. In conclusion to this story, I was tempted many times by women, mostly in Chiang Rai. The receptionist at the hotel below my condo kept bumping into me when I was out and about on my own, wondering if I wanted to grab a drink. She saw me daily with Nok. I had so many beautiful women approach me when I was out and alone in Chiang Rai. I'm looking forward to my next trip to Thailand. Wasn't that a great story? Thanks for watching this again, guys, and I'll catch up with you on Wednesday.